New Year's Eve morning, Coach.
Happy almost New Year, Mr. Mike.
It's a big day.
It is the end of the 2018 era, and most people are chomping at the bit to head towards what is hopefully a bigger and brighter 2019 and probably more than one area of their life. But it's funny, I was like texting back and forth to a couple people, and these I guess between post the day after Christmas, between now, everybody's kind of in limbo. You're kind of like, I don't even really know what kind of year I'm in. Am I in 2018 yet? Am I in 2019 yet? Should I start something? Should I not start something? You're kind of like straddling the fence, waiting and waiting and waiting. And now January 1st is going to come on like the worst day ever on a Tuesday. Because it's going to immediately be, I think some people are probably going to get cranking today, which I think is a great idea. Start off your new year on a great note. Some people will start it tomorrow. Hopefully, I would suggest starting it today, because I think a lot of people, might go out tonight and partake in a few extra shenanigans that might be suffering greatly tomorrow morning. So get in a few things today. Take care of yourself. Get ready for a great new year. And we appreciate you joining us on the Crushing Iron Triathlon podcast, and we hope to stay with you for the whole new year of 2019.
Oh, we'll be here. It's whether
you like it or not, we'll be here.
We kind of joke about, or not joke, I guess we kind of whatever about the idea of New Year's resolutions, but well, like them or not, it's time to flip the shark. I had to bring it back.
That's an old one, yeah.
Yeah, old one.
Oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, I got one of our athletes Kate sent a coffee mug with me ski jumping over a shark. Picture on it. So I'm using that now, and I'm using that as my 2019 what's that called? Motto?
There's so many words for it now.
Yeah, that could have been everything. The motto.
It could have been anything. Yeah, the model.
Hey, listen, we have to talk a little bit about football, and I'm sure you haven't even probably been watching.
I've watched
football.
I've watched a little bit here and there. I mean, we were in Chattanooga this last weekend, and we had a busy day Saturday, so I was kind of not looking forward to missing what I hoped was going to be a couple good games. Then ended up being like, dude, I'm glad I didn't waste my time seeing basically any of the games. I know your Badgers won. They put a stomping onto Miami, and they sent Mark Rick into retirement with his head held low.
Yeah, but that's not what I wanted.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's kind of been complaining because there's so many bowls, and all the games are kind of junky. Or not all of them, but it feels like it's just a big puking of teams getting together and playing for no reason and stuff like that. And I gotta say, I think the whole season was that way, because day one of the first week, everybody thought it would be Clemson and Alabama, and here we are. And you know what I mean? It's like that was almost predetermined. So what is even going on? They have to do something. This whole thing is just going to...
Why? The two best teams play every year for the most part, so what's the big deal?
I know, but that's my point, is why even pay attention to the rest of the year?
It's definitely getting that way, especially with as many people getting in the bowls. And I do just have to say, can we just quit inviting Notre Dame to basically play in any bowl game where they play anybody with speed? Because all they do is get demolished.
It's unbelievable.
It's not unbelievable. It's totally predictable.
Well, that's too, but I mean...
They're never going to, until they change things and quit recruiting only these huge, cornbread-fed, Midwestern, gigantic kids that can compete in their,
Nah, but I think their problem is that they think they're kind of a hybrid. They think they're kind of a fast team, and whereas Wisconsin...
So they play a fast team.
I know, but when Wisconsin, who does what you just said, plays in those games, against Miami or whatever... They usually, they play their way, and it creates problems most of the time. I mean, they have been blown out by a fast team here and there, but for the most part, they just kind of play the game. But I think Notre Dame gets there and thinks that they're at that upper echelon. And I think, honestly, Notre Dame has been putting this off way too long. They just need to join the Big Ten and, face some day in, day out grinding and just figure out who they're at, because I don't know. This living out on your own island thing is a little weird and doesn't really seem to be working. And I'm sorry, Tom. Tom, one of our athletes, Tom, is a big Notre Dame fan, and I'm sure he's bumming, but...
Yeah, I think he's in, South America right now, so he's probably detached.
He's probably all right.
Yeah, he'll make it.
We'll all make it.
Yeah,
but can I say one thing that...
Sure, show me.
After watching a lot of these games, there's just a phrase that's just irking me to no end, and it's like every announcer has this phrase called, they need to create some urgency. It just annoys me for some reason.
Creating urgency?
Yeah.
Yeah. Creating urgency is more like a 24-hour window. Let's create some urgency and let's get things great, because we are basically for the next 24 hours going to be in one gigantic state of creating urgency.
I know, but it's just stressful, man.
I totally agree it's stressful, and people do it to themselves. And listen, we're going to see so many things. Everybody's going to see so many things over the next basically 24 hours. People are going to basically partake in every single challenge possible.
Oh, I know. I'm excited about that.
I'm starting the one-day challenge. If you guys want to hop on board the one-day challenge, you can go to my Facebook. No. It's you're going to see people who have barely been able to string together 2 days are now going to commit to 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months. And I'm all for creating consistency and creating habits. I just think it's important to be careful with the amount of volume in terms of whether it's exercise in general, or it's training, or it's cycling, or a sport specific, or it's something like a different modality that you're trying to add in, like weightlifting or yoga or stretching or anything, is just to make sure that you're not spreading yourself really, really, really thin. Because, listen, the biggest issue most people have is creating time or committing to a specific amount of time that they can train in. Because most say, I just didn't have time today. I just didn't have time today. I just didn't have time today. And then now they're gonna start a, fasting challenge, I'm not going to miss a workout challenge, I'm going to do a strength training challenge, a plank challenge, a yoga challenge, a smoothie challenge. And I'm like, wait a minute, did you just create 36 hours in a day? Because last time I checked, we only have 24, and it was hard to manage just getting enough time to get your regular stuff. And so, well, I think the idea behind it is very positive in just creating small things, that are attainable and achievable. I think where people kind of get into, a rut early is by just biting up more than they can chew from a time standpoint. If look at your life and think, I really only have 2 hours a day, and now I've got 19 things I'm trying to succeed at. But what's wrong with just picking one thing? And then if you can do that, because most people do it the opposite way. They don't pick one thing and then do it for 30 days and prove to themselves they can be consistent, and then maybe find something else they can insert into their training. It's, let me start with these 6 and then see what falls by the wayside. Instead of, let's find out what's most important to me in this year. And it could be anything. It could be anything at all. And just start with one. Because one of the biggest benefits people get from these consistency challenges, or a 30-day challenge, or a running for 100 days straight, yes, are there fitness benefits? Sure, there totally are. But I think the biggest thing is proving to yourself that you can, in fact, be consistent.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that, as people tend to kind of digest what they really, really want their year to be about, and they start to put things on. Because listen, we're all great at putting things on paper. It's everything after that it's everybody. I'd love to hear how many people buy a yearly planner. Let me know how many weeks you guys get by.
Yeah.
Before you're like, I made it to like February. I'm getting all excited. I'm filling out my year. And then basically from May to December 15th, you basically don't touch it again. But find something that's going to create some consistency for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you got like a lot of things going on, man, and you try to add too much, and then you start, you might stick with 1 out of 6, like you're saying. That creates a bad feeling of like failure, I think, or something too,
It is. It's totally like that.
It's like, man, I can't do anything, even though you're doing something. But yeah, to add that 1-day challenge, it's like, what today am I going to do?
I'm not going to miss a workout today. That's my goal.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
I
not going to miss a workout. I wake up tomorrow and do it again. But when you like you said, when you extend things, it's just you put so much pressure on yourself.
You create too much urgency.
It's urgency is just another way to say pressure.
Yeah,
let's create some pressure.
Yeah, let's turn it up and let's make today a race day.
Why do we need to create any more pressure than? Like, I think for other specific athletes, maybe a different personality. Piss
and vinegar
personality. That
different.
Listen. If Allie and I have to be stuck in this house with a absolutely nightmarish toddler for the next 2 more weeks, we're going to be piss and vinegar. Most athletes already have this type A personality that's also blended with, I have to be a perfectionist. So basically, nothing is ever perfect. I'm always not being good enough. With, if I don't do something, then it's a total indictment on who I am as a person.
Mm.
I have this huge character defect that's called can't finish anything, which isn't really a character flaw. I think it's just how it's just you're just basically committed to setting yourself up for failure. And people do that by continuously, we talk about it, on a lot of the podcasts, is like, I think I'm going to get on I can probably do 8 hours a week, this week, and then you do like 3, and you're like, but you know what, I'm going to commit. I'm going to go 10.
Next, make up lost ground.
Yeah, make up lost ground. Okay, it's all that overcommitting that again puts more pressure on stuff. And yeah, you might nail it Monday through Wednesday. Like I would for athletes, I really love seeing athletes who struggle at the beginning of the week and rally at the end, because you can see that their commitment to training and trying to always kind of find a way is more constant. Whereas a lot of athletes will just, they'll get up, they have that Monday morning freshness where they get up and they're like, I'm ready to go, I'm crushing it. It's Monday, I got it going. It's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, and they're like, oh man, I just, Thursday, and then Friday got away from me. It's the weekend. I'm probably just going to recharge and just get back at it on Monday. And kind of mail it in. But again, it's like, just whatever you do, whether it's with your training, setting up your season, with race distances, with challenges, with life in general, don't over commit. Just do something. Instead of over committing, just pick one thing that you can be committed to. One thing. Because if you can find that one thing to be committed to and not waver and not find excuses, then when the next item pops up or the next opportunity pops up for you to find a way to insert other time, then you can find a way. And like we talked about this before, is if I'm giving you a 20-minute run and you can find a way to sneak in an extra 20 minutes, then I bet the next week you're going to be able to find a way to sneak in an extra 5 minutes. And then maybe an extra 5 minutes a week. It's about creating habits, but creating them in a way that's sustainable and slowly seeing incremental progress versus, I need to make leaps and bounds tomorrow because I've overcommitted and I'm going to start behind the 8 ball. Whereas I should have set myself up a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a huge deal, man. We've got the club program going. And a bunch of people are coming in. It's been awesome. If you want any more information about it, today's the last day, I guess. $2.99 at www.crushingiron.com/club. You can go there and check out what's going on with the club program. But You know, at this time of year, obviously people are, struggling to keep it consistent. And, a lot of people may be starting or have been requesting to start a new training plan on the 1st. And my biggest concern with that is that they may not be ready for that training plan. So I've been trying to reinforce this idea like, okay, if you haven't been swimming in 3 months, you're probably not going to be up for these swim workouts, for example. So just get to the pool, because it's my fear is that when you start, like you're saying, you start going from 3 hours or 8 hours to 10 hours, and then you're trying to build it up and trying to regain lost ground and all this sort of stuff. It can just start to mount and seem overwhelming. So I just kind of say, hey, if there's like a 2,700 swim workout with 100 repeats or something like that, and you can barely swim a lap right now, just go to the pool and swim it. Don't even look at that, because that's just, you probably won't go to the pool if you're just not going to do it, And that's one of the things I've been doing lately, because with my, I've been pretty consistent with the slow running. And this week I just got back. I had that long drive, and I got out of the car Friday night, and I just could barely walk. So Saturday I took slow running to a new level, and I just basically buried my meter in zone 1, zone 1 with Maddie. I just took my dog out because she is a little pokester right now and not really running great. But I was using her kind of as a tether. Like, she was slowing me down, and we were just going out. And so the last 3 days, this would be the 3rd day, I guess, in a row. I'm just going to run like super slow because I'm around that fence, It's like something's got to get, and it's been feeling really awesome. And in fact, I had like a little foot issue when I think because I was running in this weird track up there in Wisconsin, this indoor zigzaggy, like it was like a Formula One course kind of shape, and so the top of my foot, I felt like it because I've hurt that before on an accident, but I felt that kind of coming on. So instead of trying to power through it, I've just been running through it, but like super super easy, and I think it's back already. So I just can't get. I think that translates to everything. If you can get on the bike and you got like this huge tough workout staring at your face, but you can't. If you can just get on and just spin and just start spinning and not even think about it. It's overwhelming it right now.
Yeah, it's stop trying to create results and start trying to create patterns. Because everybody likes to go the opposite direction. I want results that are tangible, that I can decipher, that I can show, that I can break down every single day. That's just not how it works. I'm sorry. That's just not how it works. And so people create their own training plans, or they buy plans online that they have no idea about anything. And then they also make these race goals. And so they start chasing them immediately. They start to try to create results immediately. Like you see people that chase paces, like their goal race pace in August that they just came out of nowhere with. They start trying to run that today. And so people start to, or if people are trying to lose weight, that'll be a big thing right now. They would try to create a result tomorrow. Lose a pound. I'm barely gonna eat. Look, I dropped a pound. And I'm like, I'm like, dude, you took like an extra poop today. So it's like, big deal. And then what happens is when they don't, they may have an off day, or they've had a little more water weight, or whatever it is, and they don't see it, then they feel like something is wrong with their pattern or what they're doing, versus it just being an off day, because everything becomes pass or fail. Everything becomes, success or failure. So instead of picking like an arbitrary result to immediately have, instead of I'm going to choose this, I'm going to pick a result. Focus on a pattern. Focus on a pattern of consistency. And it could be any kind of a pattern. It could be, and it can still be numerical, because people love them some numbers.
Mm-hmm.
instead of making I wanna weigh this or I wanna do this, make it something that's tangible, that is relatable to effort. Because training, racing, everyday sessions, weight, progress in other areas of your life, whatever it is, you know, is like, it's so, to take it totally out of the realm of training. And I'm going to read 18 books this year. You're like, oh geez, that's a lot. You don't have any idea what life's going to throw at you. And that's the same thing with training. You don't know what life's going to throw at you, but you make these big, audacious, hairy goals for August, September, and you're in January and life's good. And in the next 3 months, you might move to a different city, get married, or get divorced, start a different job, get a dog, and 6 plants. And you're like, whoa, this isn't like, and all of a sudden you're on the 8 ball. So pick something. So instead of picking out a result, say, I'm going to read I'm at least going to pick up a book and read at least 1 chapter today. It might take you 10 minutes. Instead of being like, oh, now I have to finish 18 books this year. I better read as much as I can every single time. Obviously, nothing against reading. We should all read. But it's the same thing with training. Instead of being like, I got to achieve this result by February 1st. I have to be able to run this. Okay, well, you have no idea what's going to happen. And you might be able to run or execute something faster. Say, I'm going to commit to running X amount this week and then X amount the next week. Or I'm going to commit to not missing a session this week. Or what a great thing would be is to, and I have a couple athletes I've encouraged to do this, is when you look at your year and you want to pick out the best way to succeed, is give yourself an amount of days throughout the year that you're okay missing. Look back, if you've been really fairly consistent and you've achieved some pretty good results this last year, and let's say you outside of fatigue and stuff like that, where a coach gave you a day off, you just decided to take 12 days off. And you did really well. Things are really good, because I think, you should choose to take a day off every once in a while if you feel like you need the mental break. That's there. It happens. Give yourself that. I'm gonna give myself 10 training vacation days this year. And what I mean by that is I'm going to have these 10 days to use for the whole year, where I can just wake up and say, you know what, I just don't have it today. I feel like I need a day off. I'm just going to pull one of my training vacation days and use that. Instead of saying I'm not going to miss a workout this whole year. I'm going to be so consistent, it's going to blow your mind, because then what happens is you force yourself into some training too that you might not should be doing just for the sake of keeping the streak alive. And so it's a really delicate time of year that can not just physically set you up or set you back, but really mentally and emotionally propel you towards having a great year by showing yourself and proving to yourself that you can in fact be consistent, that you can in fact find time to train, that you can in fact cut X, Y, and Z out of your daily life, whether it's diet or something that makes you more stressful, whatever it is. Like, you can do really anything. And so there's nothing wrong with giving yourself something as simple as, I'm going to get up every day this week and just make my bed. There's so many stories there about the most successful people in the world, like, wake up every day and make their bed, and they get themselves going by making their bed every day and establishing some sort of routine. All the trivial and basic things sound basic and trivial because they seem easy, but that also means they should be very easy to replicate and do consistently over and over and over again, because they don't take a lot of time. Mm-hmm. But it's that establishing a pattern of success and a pattern of consistency that you can take that mentality into choosing to do different things in your training life or your personal life to have a really, really good year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that morning routine is a big one for a lot of people, and it's sort of like, yeah, okay, make the bed, and then you're supposed to sit in meditation for 20 minutes, and then you're supposed to go walk around the block, and then come back and take a cold shower, and then write for 20 minutes. And then it's like all of a sudden that just feels overwhelming. But if you build to that by just making your bed today and sitting for 5 minutes or whatever, mm-hmm. something simple to get some kind of habit going, it I like to analogize with our podcast because over the years, we've committed to Monday and Thursday every week. And there's been times when I've kind of, got almost sucked into this thing about, come on, man, maybe we should add one more podcast. But we know that I feel like we found that sweet spot where this puts just enough, tension on our muscles, our brains, and stuff like that. And two a week is the number, and it helps us grow, and it keeps us going, and it's doable. But to add another layer to that, might just destroy the whole thing. I just feel like we found that sweet spot, and it's kind of like not that, but there's something you said earlier. It reminded me of the stock market and how, if you take what you're saying, take a 10 days and give yourself a break or whatever. But like people watch the stock market now and it's, it went up 100 or 500 today. It went down 1,000. And every day they're just reacting to all that stuff. And I'm sitting there going, A, do you even have stock? And B, I mean, this is a long-term thing, And you've talked about that before, the triathlon stock market. It was a podcast, I think, or something. But it's that, man, we just get so, I mean, that's, I don't know, the phone thing. I mean, I just think everything is creating urgency in our lives right now.
It's not urgency. That's the problem. It's not urgency to produce anything.
Right.
It's just urgency
it's
to
a trigger
for the sake.
in our brain.
Yeah, it's just urgency for the sake of, like, in the book I've been reading, there was a quote on top one that was I think a Warren Buffett quote. And he said, "You can't make a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant." And the whole chapter is about people who try to rush progress.
Yeah.
And that's the thing right now is people want to be urgent for the sake of being urgent and quote unquote producing something, or they're not really producing anything like a value. It's not even production, I guess in the positive sense. It's just you're just delivering a product, or for whatever it is, for it's training or your personal life or on social media. You just have to feel like you have to do something all the time, 24/7, and it has to be done. It has to be done now. Or if I don't, then I'm going to get behind. When it's, how many things, how often do things that really take a long time that are great, or things that are really great and meaningful, usually in so many different ways, they take time. And you end up valuing them and looking back on them in a totally different light than something you just kind of pulled out of your rear one day and thought, oh, this is great. And you look back and like that wasn't really something I should have done, or that was any kind of positive impact. But we have this, we just have this disconnect with what our definition of results is. And are you looking for something day to day that's going to be the greatest result? Or are you looking for this one day in the future to take your time? Which it's funny because so many athletes would be so better suited to have that mentality, because it should relieve the pressure from the day to day. In terms of having this long-term goal in August, September, October, November, whatever it is, whatever your big race is or big event is, like, to be able to focus on the process and taking things day to day and week to week and doing the basics, the things that matter, and not running so hard 24/7 and not overextending yourself and getting injured. What that should do is that should relieve the pressure of so many athletes who struggle with the pressure that they put on themselves to produce some kind of a result. But instead, the inverse happens, where they expect themselves to be able to have something, viable and tangible to produce daily, and then when they don't, they just beat themselves up for it, and then they don't wonder why they can't get a result that they want months and months down the road because of they can't make it happen on a day to day. And so it's just that total mindset shift that would do so many athletes such a good deal of positivity, I guess, and mentally, emotionally, and physically, to have that approach and focus on that trend versus trying to just, wake up and have a, not mailing in by hanging their hat on one workout. And that's, instead of like the ultimate day, because a lot of people do that. And, sometimes I'm probably not as overly excited as I probably could be sometimes, but it's like people get way up after one workout and think like, hey, I've arrived, I'm here, here we go, I made it. And I'm like, all right, great deal, back to work tomorrow. It's like one workout doesn't mean you've done it all great, and just like one bad workout doesn't mean you're doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
It's just it's you got to put it all together.
Right. And I think one of the underlying goals here, and usually in triathlon, is this sort of concept of creating resiliency, and through patterns, and like you're saying. And I can't help but I always think about the natural cycles of nature, for example, and how days are longer in the summer and they're shorter in the winter, and I think it's for a reason. That's time. The whole idea of resting and not having as much sunlight, and it's sort of like a forced way to kind of get you to dial it back and maybe be more in active recovery mode or whatever, things like that. So I just think that plays a huge part in why everybody's because for one, you can't just keep hammering all year. It's like it's a yearly cycle of, okay, slow it down. Let's we're in that spot right now where we're kind of coming out of hibernation a little bit, and people are going to want to just get out and start going. But I still say it's hugely important to use this time as the beginning blocks of building that resiliency, because when your workouts naturally start increasing and the consistency, or the two-a-days start popping up a little bit more, and you start doing more and more stuff like that, and the sun comes out and the summer gets here, and like May and June, and people are workouts it becomes easier, because we've hopefully built some things up here in the winter, little things to kind of keep our base and head straight and all this sort of stuff, and keep the energy going. But by the time we get to that point of the season, it's just going to feel easier and more naturally. It's just going to be something that happens naturally, I guess is what I'm saying. Is that we have to kind of keep in mind the limitations that nature, I guess, puts on us in a way. And when the sun's out for 18, 17 hours a day or whatever, then we just naturally become stronger or something, or more.
You have more energy.
Yeah.
But it is. It's just like the year has its own ebb and flow, of when things, no, you don't ever hear about saying, hey, I think I'm going to go on a bunch of winter vacations this year. It's like, I'm going to go on summer vacation. Everybody just has like a time of year where things are more energized and more focused. And so, when we say this, I guess in a phrase we use is like, train so you can train the way you want to train when it matters. And so right now, when you're looking at how you should develop your year or focus on your year or set yourself up for success, is don't take a bite off. Don't try to consume the amount of volume you want to consume in August. Don't take on June, July, August, September training hours in January, just for the sake of you think it'll make you better. Take on hours in volume and intensity and the approach, or whatever you want to do for your training right now, that's going to set yourself up to train. Train the way you want to train in January, so you can train the way you want to and need to in February. And then in February, train the way that you need to approach the way that you can, and do it again in March. And then build your way up and build your way and trend up like that. That's why you don't want to see like your charts ranging with volume that's so stagnant and even across the whole year. That's how you plateau. That's how you get stale. That's how you peak too early. Train the way you want to train, so you can train the way you need to when you can, B, when you need to, C, when it matters. Don't just do it just to do it because you think it's making you better. And that's, again, another thing that athletes struggle with in terms of being patient with the amount of volume. It's give me more, give me more, give me more. It's, listen, I need you to do what you need to do now, so when it's time for me to give you more, you know what? It's not going to feel like more. It's just going to feel like the next step in the progression.
Yep.
So stop trying to skip steps and take one step at a time to get to where you want to go. Don't take the elevator to the 10th floor. Take the stairs. And just be patient with where you need to be and why you need to be there, and understand that this time of year is not for 20-hour training weeks or 18 or 6. It's all dependent. Again, when your big races, it could be in April, or it could be in November. You're starting a totally different cycle, and you got to remember that personally. But you also got to remember that when you look at other people and what they're doing, is they're doing them. You do you.
I'll break that down into something even a little simpler. I love that what you said about train for February, like you want to train so you're ready to train for March. And I like to think of it in terms of train today so you want to train tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if something's going on in your life today and you can't go balls out, just do a little bit of something that kind of fires you up for tomorrow. It's sort of like keep coming back. Keep wanting to come back. I mean, that is the ultimate secret in for me in training, is just figure out how you want to do something today that will make you actually excited about doing something tomorrow.
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back. All right, man. Well, I know we're going to have to truncate this podcast here today, but it is New Year's Eve, and we have delivered 229 podcasts now.
Man.
To a week, over 2 years. The consistency is right there.
Yep. We'll be there for 300.
2019 starts tomorrow.
And honestly, best of luck to everyone.
Yeah.
Regardless of what your goals are, whether you think they're big or whether you think they're small. We hope to continue on with you. I hope you keep listening in 2019. We'll continue to try to work hard for you and deliver the best we can. And we also really appreciate you being with us through on this journey so far. In 2018, it's been the best year yet, and we hope 2019 continues to trend that direction. And we do a lot of awesome things on our website too. We do triathlon camps, we do swim analysis, blog, videos. Our club membership is on there, which is really great right now. Coaching and training packages. So that's all on the website. You can go to crushingiron.com. I'm pumped. Looking forward to a great year and looking forward to having a good day today. And then hopefully that'll set me up for a good day tomorrow.
I like it. We have met so many great people this year through this podcast, through our camps and through races. And I look forward to meeting a lot more this year. And I'm sure we will, connect with us somehow, and we'll meet at races or look into our camps, and it's just good stuff, man. I'm really glad to be a part of it. I've loved meeting so many awesome people, and it's just been awesome. Thanks to Brad, he hooked me up with Western Kentucky, Wisconsin tickets the other night. Went up to Bowling Green and watched my Badgers lose to Western Kentucky, but it was awesome. I loved it. Loved meeting him and his wife and his buddies. So cool stuff. Keep it coming, and we're going to be here. Any questions about anything, you can email me, Mike at it's not Mike, but it is Mike. Don't put the Mike in the address. Just email me, crushingiron@gmail.com, and you can email Coach Robbie, c26coach@gmail.com.
Have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Do
you
it
too,
right.
Buddy.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon, man.
See you, man.
Bye-bye.